So, Adam, when I got home after Friday night's effort, turned on the replay, and I wasn't sure whether I'd accidentally turned on the Adult Movies channel or I was watching the first quarter of Hawthorn versus Fremantle after this Bruce orgasm.
Banger getting it back from Shields, goes down the line. Oh, I hope this stays in. It does. Keep going. Oh, yes. Now it gets really interesting. 2 bounces. He'll caress it down someone's throat, and he does. And they've got 6. Yep, 6.
This is a bit where you speak, Adam.
It's time for Bruce to give it away.
It's time for you to give it away.
It's time for me to give it away.
Would you like to try that again and come up with something witty?
Well, what do you mean? It's like... you, blokes. I don't get paid to do this.
All right, well, that was a great opening.
Well, you can't just say that Bruce came out with it, just leave it open. I mean, he comes out with 10 different things.
Bards is with the program. That's why I always open with Bards. Bards, it's like Chelsea Roffey. Bards knew exactly what the answer was. A goal.
Bards knew exactly what the answer was, did he?
Yep.
Did he really?
Yep.
Anyway, continue with your stitch up.
No, the big stitch up or Ask Wedders is very shortly. Anyway, we better invite the star of the show who will get us kicked off in.
Oh, I'm already here.
The man of steel, the man that fights off the purple, one, Bardman. Bard. Can you kick us off?
How am I going to kick you off?
I don't know, better than Wedders.
Fair enough.
Not so far.
Oh, what are you saying?
Star of the show.
Losing the plot.
Oh, God.
Bards, fire this thing up. What was the score?
All right, mate, the score. Hawthorn 21-11, 137, defeating Fremantle 11-13, 79.
And the goal kickers.
All right, we had 3 to Smith, 3 to Bruce, 3 to Piopolo, 2 each to Roughhead, Rioli and Gunston, and singles to Hale, Birchall, Suckling, Shields, Hill and Langford.
I'm surprised you didn't see Gibbo on that list. He nearly went for a goal.
He snuck forward the last quarter there, or the second quarter, I don't know. He got forward at one stage, and he lowered the eyes and hit the target. Boring.
Did Freo turn up?
Nah, they weren't there. Pav turned up, got beaten by Cheney and went home.
Or, as the old lady behind us that Adam really loves and her son yelled out, the Melbourne captain.
Yeah, you'd be on 800,000 a year there.
Yeah, but he can play for a premiership team here.
That's right.
So what did you think of the game, Adam?
I thought it was a pretty slick performance from Hawthorn. I think a lot of people are talking about Fremantle not showing up, but you look at the outs from the Hawks, they were pretty slick, I reckon, and I think it's going to be very tough for any team to beat them this season.
Bards, your take on the game?
Yeah, they blew me away in the first quarter, mate. I wasn't expecting a performance like that, and I think what it shows is, while we had arguably better outs than they did, they just haven't got the depth compared to what we've got, and that's what will keep us in good stead all year. You know, as Clarko says, you lose a soldier, replace him with one, and that's what we've been able to do. You know, blokes like Cheney and Spanger, best 22, no, give you everything, yes, that's the best thing about us.
They're your two favourite country footballers, Wedders.
Mate, don't start on me. I know a guy who's going to be part of this show during the course of the year who cannot stand Cheney and refuses to use the name Spanger in deference to the word spanner. So he just calls him the Spanner, which is harsher than anything thing I've come up with. I thought Spanger was really good the other night and doesn't get any credit for starting up or setting up that goal that Bruce McAvaney salivated over for the rest of the evening.
And let's talk about the man that gave it over to Bruce, Rioli. They're talking big things for this year. What do we think?
Well capable of it. We just need to see it on a consistent basis. He's played 2 rippers so far. When he's on fire, I don't think there's anyone as good as him at getting out of traffic and finding his way to the goals, but he just needs to keep doing it.
I'm going to say this, Wedders, your mate Ruffy and Gunston, they went missing this week.
Oh, they go missing, or was it just simply a case of a fairly even spread across the board and those guys not really needing to stand up? Because let's face it, 20 minutes in, that game was over. Fremantle didn't take a mark for the first 16 minutes of that game.
But your mate Big Boy didn't show, but Segler was quite an adequate replacement.
Yeah, Segers did all right. He gave an effort. He got around the ground all right, did a couple of good things. His tap work wasn't bad considering he's up against a mountain. And yeah, he was all right. Obviously, Big Boy will come back in.
Don't have his praise on him, Bard. It's not as though Sandilands had any effect on the game.
No, bugger all, to be honest. Like, he might have got a few taps. I think Hale playing in his 200th game had a beauty. I think he only had about 12 possessions, but his work rate around the ground became an option, and, Sandilands couldn't keep up with him. Sandy got a cheap goal towards the end there where he didn't take a mark and got paid one. Other than that, he didn't have much influence at all.
All right, well, we better get into the votes for the Barslow.
This is a week where you could have done absolutely anything with the votes, and someone's going to miss out. Well, a lot of players are going to miss out that were good. But
let's see Gibbo miss out again.
Yeah, Gibbo has missed out. The ball just didn't go into the back line often enough for Gibbo to get a vote this week.
Hang on, he's got to be known as, last year Sammy Mitchell was known as the 2012 Brownlow medalist, Sam Mitchell.
Yeah.
So Gibbo, when referred to, needs to be referred to as the 2013 winner of the Crimmins medal.
Yep.
Right, so Crimmins medalist Gibson.
That's the one.
Right. Well, we won't be using his name right now because he's not getting a vote.
Good on you.
Sorry to burst your bubble there. All right, so I've gone with 5 votes to a bloke who provides us so much run and finished off real well, and that's Isaac Smith. He had 30-odd touches at 80-odd%, but 3 goals. Just gets in the right place at the right time. I thought he had a ripper game and deserves some votes. 4 votes to the current Coleman medalist in Luke Bruce. Ripper game off a half-forward flank again. Got on the end of it, kicked some goals. Went in the middle a lot, got clearances. He had a ripper game. 3 to Mitchell, 2 to the aforementioned Rioli for what he did, and 2 for another great run in F. Brad Hill. The way he runs in the third and fourth quarters of the game is unbelievable.
Excellent, Bart. So I'll put on the leaders board this week after 200 people have viewed the show.
No worries.
Well, have we got a blast?
Yes, there's a blast.
We'll go for it.
Indicated. Right shoulder, who? 1, 2, 3, 4. Left shoulder, who? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right. As we know, as Adam alluded to earlier, this game was over in the first 20 minutes. By half-time, it was well and truly over. So into the third quarter, there was no game to be won yet. The ball managed to find itself to a little gnome, hobbit-looking creature in the Fremantle forward line by the name of Hayden Ballantyne. Took a set shot for goal, kicked the goal. I think it made him 64 points down when he kicked the goal. So what's Hayden give us? He gives us a fist pump. 64 points down against last year's premiers. You've had your butt spanked and you're giving it the fist pump because you've kicked the goal in the third quarter. Give it up, Hayden.
Well, it's that time of the show, Bards, where I get to ask the questions of Wedders. He wanted the Ask Wedders section of the show, which is becoming known as the Big Stitch Up, according to Adam, that is, of course. Or should we call him Wedders? So I'll start off with a couple of tame ones, Wedders, that your friend Mr. Hogendye, who's a regular contributor to this section, asked of you.
Really intelligent question.
Well, it's good to see we've got an interactive show now. So let's go with the first one, and that is, what does Wedders want to be when he grows up?
Tell me why.
He's a genius, Hogendye, isn't he? I don't really have any plan to grow up, not any time soon, so we'll just move on to the next question.
Okay, Peter Pan. Number 2, Luke Bruce, is he turning into one of the AFL's elite small forwards?
Tell me why.
Oh, absolutely he is.
All right, well, that was a nice succinct answer. Number 3, what is the group's early thoughts on free agency players available at season's end the Hawks might look to target, if any?
Tell me why.
Well, I would suggest some of the dollars being thrown around are ridiculous. 800 grand for James Frawley. Let's not forget, and I don't mean to slate a great Hawthorn man, but Campbell Brown too won an All-Australian honour, and I think 800 grand for Frawley is a little bit over the odds. If we get him for $500,000, that'd be good. Yeah, save the cash and have a crack at somebody a little bit more worthy.
All right, now those last two questions were a bit too serious, so my questions for you that I jotted down from Friday night were, what did you think of all the new friends around us in the seats that we've been sitting in for the last about 10?
Yeah, a lot of one-year members flat scarves around and Johnny come latelys, and a lot of good loyal members sitting up in the nosebleed section in the club's never-ending chase for the almighty dollar.
Tiered seating, that's having a real impact. No one's turning up.
Well, according to Vlad the Impaler, it's got nothing to do with tiered seating. It's paid-up members not coming to games, apparently.
Look, this was one that worried me, and, you know, I don't condone this, so I'm going to ask you, are you a sizist, given the comment that you made about Paul Piopolo, which was, gee, Poppy does those little things, doesn't he?
Oh, get stuffed. You can't ask me that. That's a bullshit question.
And as a non-believer, are you now relenting, my son, over your comments around Spanger?
Oh, Christ. He played well the other night. Looks like he might have some sort of future as a third or fourth choice backup key defender.
And I wrote this one on Friday night, especially after Cyril took that grab out in front, landed on the ground, dodged around the Fremantle players and kicked a goal.
Bruce thinking about it, and then kicks to centre half forward. Neat looking. Oh yes, Cyril takes a special and goes bang. It's a beautiful thing.
And this was my question for you at the time. Was Cyril simply taking the P155?
Oh, clearly he was. He was laughing certainly on the way down from taking that grab and just telling of candy before the snap goal. He's different class. He's the one guy that Dermot Brereton said makes him chuckle at the footy.
And my final question for you, is it true you have a Hawthorn onesie?
No, that's not. There's not enough fabric.
Well, we're on to nearest to the pin.
4.
And as much as you're going to claim that you picked 60 points, Bards, and you were nearest to the pin, I think you were nearest to the pin, but by about 40.
Yes, I did go with 19. I was a bit more optimistic than the rest of you. That tends to be the way I go, optimistic.
The way you roll, Bards. Well, we've got a few more rocking in, which is good, and I'll put a leaders board up for that. I've got spreadsheets coming out of my backside. So what about this week? We played Gold Coast at Metricon, 7:30, nearest to the pin, Bards.
4.
Well, I don't think it'll be a walk in the park up there. We tend to have a habit of letting Gary Ablett do whatever he likes. Good to see the old 80s rivalry of Langford versus Ablett will probably be renewed. But look, I reckon we'll win and by about 5 goals. So I'm going to go with 30 points.
Wedders, what are you going to use? A 3-iron? A Big Bertha? What do you think?
4.
Hawthorn by 43 points. But I do expect Ablett to do what he usually does and get 40 touches and kick a couple of goals.
All right, well, I'm going 27 points.
4.
I agree, it's probably closer than we imagined. Hodgie's coming back, they say, so Stratton's probably in the mix as well. It'll be interesting to see where we go. So people keep entering. We'll start racking up the stats and see whether Bards keeps claiming that he's gone 60 points.
I was just a week ahead of us.
And on that note, it's Go Hawks.